Okay, I use really ordinary objects. You said kind of domestic objects. And I think I was always interested in found objects in general, but I realized there were so many found objects I needed to limit it. It was too much. So I came upon this idea of the food, clothing, shelter theme. And then it made it more manageable. So I used a lot of objects related to those themes, which are very ordinary things that would be in the kitchen or plastic bags, clothing items. And there's a certain humbleness to them, which I like because they're often overlooked. And so in a way, my point is that it's interesting when you pay more attention to them, because there's actually a lot of beauty to them, just formal beauty, but besides that they have this use in our lives, which I find rather profound. That they were also invented by humans, which is fascinating in itself. And the other thing about the ordinary, mundane things is it leaves more room for me to add something of my own, formally, with linear things. I use a lot of wires and strings and wood, so I can add my formal elements, which is, I think, what takes them away from just being what they are. But the important thing is I never want to hide what their use is or what they are, because I really honor that about them. I think humor is so important in life. I don't know if we could really function in the world without humor. Life is such a mixture of good and bad, beauty and ugliness, and I think humor is a way to navigate through all of that. So I guess basically it's just a really important thing. The humor in my artwork, I think, comes with my wanting to play a little bit about what art has been over the centuries, or even more, from modernism on, the conventions of displaying art and what people think is important. So I think it might make people think a little bit about maybe how we often take things too seriously, when if you have a little lighter attitude, you might get more or something. Clearly reference our consumer culture, and particularly our throwaway kind of culture. It's certainly part of the subject, but to me it's not the main subject. It's just something that's in there. I find it interesting, but the work is not about environmentalism. I prefer to take a less judgmental position. I happen to be a rather activist environmentalist myself in my personal life, signing petitions, going to protests, things like that. But as I said, that's not what the work is about. I'd rather accept what we have in our world. It doesn't mean in the future maybe we won't think about a way to be less wasteful. I think that would be great. But in the meantime, this is our world and this is what we have, and I'm interested in that. I'm interested in life, what it is.